I've been hiking out of Beldon since this morning. It was a 15-mile uphill back up the canyon that I descended to get to Beldon. I'm about 13 miles in right now, and this is the first place kind of flat enough where I could actually talk and hike at the same time. So last night in the hostel we were discussing that there's only 5,000 feet over 15 miles, so it should be pretty easy grade, but we didn't expect a lot of downhill, and there are a lot of short downhills that made the actual elevation gain probably closer to like 8,000 feet, and then some flat sections, which really means we went up like 8,000 feet in probably about 10 miles. So yeah, it's been kind of steep, kind of overgrown, kind of wet, with lots of poison oak. So I have a new least favorite section of trail. it's climbing out of Beldon. But I am now in Lassen National Forest, and in probably about 50 miles I'll get to Lassen National Park. Well, my third bear of the trail is center screen. Looks like a little yearling. But I have been calling out for mama bear. See where she is. There, see him moving. Leaving the Plumas National Forest and getting into Lassen National Forest, I believe I have officially left the Sierra range of granite and entered the more volcanic range here. You can just tell the type of rock is a lot different, and it's also marked by a lot more forest here in Northern California. So views like this I think will be few and far between, one or two a day instead of all day like I had down in the desert and then in the Sierra as well. So, but looking forward to a little different scenery and a little different geology. Well, I'm at mile about 324, and I passed the halfway marker a little while ago. Stopped for lunch, celebrated with some wild turkey that another hiker had, and took a little break. Now the actual halfway mark is at 13:25, but as the trail gets extended in either direction, little by little, the marker stays in the same spot. So either way, celebrated the halfway mark, and then in about another mile get to celebrate again as we pass the actual halfway mark. There is Lassen Peak in Lassen Volcano National Park. So I'm only a few miles away from the park border now. I've been hiking for about an hour and a half, and I just love hiking in the morning. There's very few other people out on the trail, or at least you don't see them. You don't start really seeing people until lunch, when they stop and eat and you catch up and everything. But so it's a lot of solitude in the morning. But I especially love hiking in the morning when I know that someone else has gotten out of camp in front of me, because then they're the ones who have cleared all the spider webs from across the trail, which typically has been my job for the past 1,300 500+ miles anytime we've been in the woods. So I'm glad to let someone else do it this morning. I camped with a couple a little further down than me, but I know that they got out earlier by about a half hour. So they're probably about a mile ahead. So I'm just enjoying the walk this morning. So I've left the PCT and come down to Terminal Geyser in Lassen. It's about 3 to 4/10 of a mile off trail. And from reading, I guess it's not actually a geyser, it's a steam vent, as there's no water that actually comes out, just the steam. And then there's this stream that comes down here, and you can tell it's still hot. I don't know if the camera's picking it up, but the stream here is actually steaming as well. And maybe over here you can see it better. There's a lot of signs warning everyone to stay on the trail as the ground near geothermal areas is brittle and thin, and you can fall through. So that's about as good as a vantage point as I'm going to get safely. Well, here is Boiling Spring, or Boiling Spring Lake. It is just off the PCT. Can't get any closer because it's illegal. But there's a loop trail that goes around, but I'm just going to hop back on the PCT and get up to Drakesbad for lunch. So it's pretty neat. I can smell the sulfur from here. It's a sulfur spring. It is cold this morning, as you can see from the mist coming off the lake. It got down to freezing last night. The water in my camelback froze, and I've got on every single layer that I'm carrying. So even hiking now, I'm wearing my down jacket, which is very rare. So hopefully it warms up today just a little bit and make for some nice hiking. And here is the view of Lassen I've been waiting for. I'm actually not in the park anymore. I left the park this morning, and I'm back in Lassen National Forest, just past Old Station, on a 2-mile loop that has lava domes and splatter cones and lava tubes. So that's a lava tube right there. And 2-mile loop brings you right back to the PCT. And I figured, what the heck? It's only 2 miles. And we'll see some things that weren't in the park. So I'm probably only a half mile in, but I'll be taking lots of photos to show you guys. Well, here is a lava tube that they've fenced off so people don't get too close and fall in, but pretty wide. I'd say that's maybe 10 to 12 feet wide, and that's where lava came out. Pretty neat. Here we've got the crater of a spatter cone. I'm standing on one edge of it here. It goes over there, so lava would come from the middle and spatter up. It was very, very viscous, and land on the edges, and it would slowly just build itself up taller and taller. It's pretty neat. This is one of the lava tubes here, and lava flowed through these tubes north into the Hat Creek Valley, which I'll be hiking through later today and tomorrow, as far as 16 miles. So pretty much the rest of today and tomorrow I'll be seeing a lot of lava, possibly. I'll be up on the rim. and so I'm sure it'll be down on the bottom. But the Hat Creek Valley was created on a vertical fault, so pretty neat. I think so anyway. Well, now I'm back on the PCT, and if you're in the area and wanted to do that trail, it's called the Spatter Cone Trail. It is in Old Station, about 2 miles past the RV park and post office, towards the gas station and JJ's Cafe. So whether you're hiking the trail or whether you're just stopping through, going to Lassen. At Lassen I didn't see anything like that. So if you're going to Lassen, you might as well make the drive over here to check that out as well. 2 miles, it's a loop trail, so pretty nice. I'm glad I stopped. So I almost walked right by this. This is actually just on the PCT. PCT is right back there. So if you don't do the Splatter Cone loop, definitely come check this out. This is a huge lava tube. Get a little closer. In here you can actually kind of see what's the inside one looks like. So I'm actually climbing down into it right now. And it is this huge cave here. You can see there's the rim up there. It's all the way around. And this was all carrying lava, presumably back there, up to the surface from the activity that runs from Lassen all the way up to Mount Shasta. Once again, I've left the PCT to come to Subway Cave, which is a huge lava tube that goes down in here, goes 1,000 feet in, and stays 46 degrees inside year-round. And there's no lighting, so in a minute I will be getting my headlamp out to go in here. It's kind of neat. Oh, it's already getting cooler. Wow. Alright. So that goes back there. That's up top. And let's go exploring. Hopefully the light shows up a little bit, which it's not. And here we're coming out to the other side, right there. This was pretty neat. I'm a little disappointed that my headlamp batteries are dying and I couldn't show more. But if you're doing the PCT, this is definitely a must-do side trip. It only adds like a half mile. But definitely neat. And there's an entrance and an exit, so don't leave your trekking poles at the side you go in, because then you have to go back and get them, like I did. Whew, feels hot up here now. Subway Cave. Alright, time for a quick geology lesson. Picture the landscape here. About 1 million years ago, the valley floor doesn't exist, and Mount Lassen still has its side, but is not the dominant volcano to the south. Mount Tahoma is. Then suddenly, on a geological time frame, the valley floor drops. So we're on a vertical fault. I'm standing on Hat Creek Rim right now. Valley floor drops, and then moving forward to 600,000 years ago, Mount Tahoma begins erupting. So as that's erupting, it's sending lava down the valley. The lava is settling in the low spots, creating lava tubes that we explored before, like Subway Cave. And some of the lava is pretty gaseous and erupts through the lava tubes into the splatter cones that I also looked at. So about 200,000 years ago, Mount Tahoma stops and begins eroding and is no longer here. So now we have Lassen and Mount Shasta, which is center screen right down there, are the two volcanoes. And then skipping forward again to 1913, 14, or 15, depending on what source you look at, Forest Service, Park Service, Mount Lassen explodes. And so that's back here. And again, that's when the side of the mountain blew off, much like Mount St. Helens, sending mudslides down into the valley below and destroying farms and homes and lives. And that brings us to today. So now, along the Hat Creek Rim, which you can see here about 500 feet up where I'm standing, but gets to be about 1,000 feet up down there. And PCT just kind of hugs the rim for a while, and that's the 30-mile dry stretch that I'm on. It is a beautiful night to be up on the Hat Creek Rim. There's Lassen, and as the sun is setting over this way, there is Mount Shasta, actually behind the tree to the right. Just gorgeous. Well, I've come down off the Hat Creek Rim and been walking through these fields for a while towards Burney, and it seems the farther from the rim I get, or the closer to 299 that I get, the more open this is. Last night I walked through a cow pasture right before camp, and so I think that's what a lot of this is used for. They got a lot of the barbed wire gates, but it is real pretty, and the trail doesn't have quite as much rock on it. It's been quite the obstacle course up on the rim, where it seems if I looked up from the trail for even a second, I was either stubbing my toe really hard, or tripping over a rock, or stepping on a piece of loose lava and rolling an ankle, and it was just, and everybody was doing it. So it was kind of funny. And then I got into camp and I started stepping on these big ponderosa pine cones and doing the same thing. I just could not get my balance. And it continued this morning, so definitely a lot of obstacles in this section, but still able to knock out quite a few miles pretty quick. It did like 16 miles before I stopped for lunch, and then I've only got about 9 left till I stop for the night. Well, I'm about to get to Highway 299 right up here. You can hear the cars, and head into Burney for the night. So I stopped at the Burney Mountain Guest Ranch, a very nice place, but decided not to spend the night there this time. If you're visiting the area, I'm sure it'd be a great place to stay. And if I come back to bring my wife and son to Lassen, I probably would end up staying there. But decided, since I had a package at the Burney post office, to just go ahead and go into Burney tonight instead of staying there. So here is the road up here, and I guess I'm about done with this video.